pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
On behalf of the board, I'd like to welcome everyone here tonight. And Mr. Latchmore, could you take a roll call attendance, please, for the record?
Trustee Pelkey.
Here.
Trustee Menard.
Here.
Trustee Southwick.
Here.
Trustee Arnold.
Present.
Mayor LaBounty.
Here. There's no one signed up for the open, to address the board from the public, so we'll go right to minutes of the May 1st, 2023 regular meeting. Every trustee should have a copy of those minutes. Any changes or revisions? If not, then I need a motion from someone to accept those minutes.
I'll make a motion to accept those minutes as printed.
Second.
All those in favor of accepting the May 1st, 2023 minutes, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say no. The ayes have it. Bills, Mr. Letourneau, the treasurer.
We have 3 additions this evening. The first one is bank card, business card in the amount of $41.01. That's for breakfasts for the conference at the, I think it was a water conference they went to or something. Excellus Health Plan, $44,986.17, and Simply Prescriptions, $6,076.08.
Thank you. I need if there's no questions to accept, pay the bills, I need a motion to pay those bills.
I make a motion we pay the bills. I'll second that.
All those in favor of paying those bills, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say no. The bills will be paid. Correspondence, Mr. Latchmore.
So I have a couple things for the board that I'd like the board's opinion on. As you may or may not know, we had a light pole on Lake Street that was struck by a vehicle. The individual that hit the light pole was from Vermont, and she does not have insurance. The situation that we have at hand is the cost to replace the light pole itself is approximately $6,000 to replace it. So we have a couple options that we could do. Number one, we could have legal draw up a payment plan for this individual to make payments to the village. I have spoken to her and she said that she would be willing to do that. Or what we could do is submit it to our insurance carrier, have them pay for the damage less our deductible, which is $2,500, and then they would go after the owner of the vehicle for the damage. The second question that I have is if the board feels that it would be necessary to have a spare pole in the event that something like this were to happen again. That's the lights on Lake Street are the only ones where we don't have a spare pole.
I would just like to say, as far as I'm concerned, with the scenarios you just addressed, we should submit this to our insurance and let the insurance take the legal action as far as I'm concerned. We'd be dealing with this individual. If she missed a payment, then the onus would be on us to try to get a hold of her again, and we'd be going back and forth. I think we need this pole replaced, and we can go with our deductible, and then have the insurance company take legal action against the individual. The second thing, you mentioned about having a spare pole, I think that's good idea, because it doesn't happen a lot, but this thing has happened over the course of, say, the last couple decades. It's happened once or twice, so I think it would be a good idea to have a spare. I would like to hear anybody from the board have any same opinion or differing opinions that I have in regards to anything I said.
I have the same opinion. I feel, yeah. I mean,
As far as I'm concerned, Chris would be stuck on the phone dealing with this individual if she missed a payment, going back and forth, how much can she pay, and then, I take this as, sometimes they run into financial difficulties. Well, we want to reduce what we were going to pay you, and then it takes you 5 years to get what you should have gotten in the course of a year. So, but anything else, Mr. Pelkey?
The insurance company will go after the full value.
Correct.
So they won't take our $2,500 deductible as partial payment.
No, so what they will do is,
They'll go after the whole 6,000?
they'll go after the whole $6,000.
Yeah.
The village will not get reimbursed until they get fully compensated for the total value of the claim.
I just wanna make sure we get the $6,000 out of her.
But I think from my standpoint, having it out of our hands, and having to follow up with phone calls and try, and with this individual, I think it's, let the insurance company deal with it. They have attorneys, and that'd be one less expense on the village's part.
Now, that's just the price of the light pole itself, correct?
The light pole and the light.
And how about the labor cost on removing the one that was broken and reinstalling the one? Can we add all that onto the insurance claim so we go after the whole value?
That's exactly what we would do,
Okay.
yes.
As long as we get our labor and our cost of dismantling.
So I'm waiting to see what that cost, or the labor is going to be associated with it. What we're gonna do for the time being, these light poles are out 13 to 14 weeks. So for the time being, what we're going to do is we're gonna replace that light pole with one of the light poles that's on Pratt. It's not gonna match, but it's better than having a cone or a barrel in that spot, especially with the holidays, Memorial Day and the 4th of July coming up, so.
I agree.
Trustee Arnold, trustee Selvik, anything you guys wanna say in regards to that?
I was just gonna ask about the replacing the light pole now, but our administrator already on it.
That will be done this week.
Excellent.
Sounds good to me.
Okay. Looks like, the consensus is we're gonna turn it over to the insurance company.
Go after
I
the
think
full value.
that's what we wanna do.
Do we need that in form of a motion?
Do you wanna put that in the form of, do we, no, I wouldn't think so at this point. It's just administrative on your part. Okay.
Correct. The other question that I would ask the board for, I'd like their opinion. We're having some issues, once again, down here at the Civic Center with their fields, the bathrooms, and in the dugouts. What I would ask the board to consider is to allow me to have doors made for the softball dugouts. And right now we have doors for the baseball field and the dugouts, but what I'd like to do is, number one, I'd like to get doors and put locks on them. And talking with Arsen, he indicated that we could get some combination locks, get some good ones that are gonna withstand the weather. We'll share the combination with the coaches and let the coaches unlock the dugouts for practices or games. It'll be their responsibility, and then they can lock them after. Try to prevent some of this vandalism that's taking place. And I'd like to do the same thing for the bathrooms for the softball, put a padlock on that. Have the coaches unlock it for games and practices, be responsible for locking it back up. And then for the bathroom here at the Civic Center, I would like to have that door locked at 8 PM, as the same as the, down at the boat launch.
No, unfortunately, I think we have to do something in this direction because a few bad apples have spoiled it for everyone else. There's been some damage, unnecessary, ridiculous damage to some of our facilities. And as you all know, we've had some drinking and some smoking of marijuana and so on and so forth. So I think to alleviate our responsibility, I think it would be a good idea to have these locks installed and have the locked at an appropriate time in the bathrooms. I would like anybody on the board weigh in on that idea too.
I agree 100%.
Yep, me too.
I believe 8 o'clock is plenty
8
of
o'clock,
time.
fine.
I think this is the best way to proceed. Like I said earlier, just a few bad apples, but unfortunately, we have to take these precautions for us getting sued or anybody getting hurt or whatever happens. We could have an alcohol poisoning situation, we could have anything happen in this situation, and just to protect the village, I think it's a good idea we lock these facilities.
How's the boat launch been? With locking it at 8? Because you've been locking it for almost a month now, right?
It's been working out very well.
Okay.
So because the water plant guys are the ones that are locking it at 8 o'clock. If they go down to the boat launch and there's people that are getting off their boats, they wait when they come up and they ask them if they need to use the restroom before locking it, so I think it's working out well.
Good. Good to hear.
The other thing is here at the Civic Center, I came down and did inspection, and there's quite a bit of work that needs to be done outside. The stage needs to be restained. It needs it really bad. We have some benches around the walk path that needs to be taken care of, needs to be stained. The playground equipment for the playground itself, the swing set area, that all needs to be restained. The other thing is that the ceiling on the gazebo has some stains on it. I don't know if we can try to wash it or if we need to restain the ceiling on the gazebo. And the other thing is, I don't know if any of the trustees have, or any of the village residents have noticed, the road going down to the gazebo is completed now, and it looks really nice. And that was done on, with recycled material from our roads and stuff, so.
One other thing, the shuffleboard has to be
Oh,
repainted.
the shuffleboard, thank you, Benny.
But I think that it's a good idea that we stain this property and keep it up, maintain good conditions of it. It's just a no-brainer, a wise decision to make, that, you know, we've got a major investment in this property, and to keep it up a little stained, we've got the work crew to do it, so in my opinion, we should go ahead and get this taken care of. Anyone feel
Yeah.
different? No?
No?
I think you have the board's approval to do that also, Mr. Letchmore.
The board may need to consider getting a part-time laborer for down here to help with, they're used to having 3 people to help. I mean, mowing, as some of you know, is quite a lengthy process with all the properties. So,
I think that's a
something,
good idea.
Yeah.
if we can try to find somebody to be a part-time labor, you know, that could help with some of the painting and that needs to be done. I'd like to get the bleachers painted this year. The other thing that, had conversations with Adam today, the Welcome to Ross's Point sign on Champlain Street was damaged, that sign. I've had it removed. What we're gonna do is we're gonna do the repairs to it and spruce it up with painting, just like what we've done with the historical signs. So we're gonna do that with the other signs as well in the village. I mean, that's the first impression when people
Yeah.
are.
Was it damaged by vandalism or just
Age.
age? Okay.
Back to the rec center, we do have the money for the manager's position, so we can, we can take care of that part-time laborer until we do get a manager.
Yes. Because I mentioned this to Greg and Dan, and they said, you know, it's gonna be hard for them maintaining the fields, doing all the mowing, and to do all the painting and staining that needs to be done as well. And, you know, to a certain degree, I have to, especially this time of year, the way the grass is mowing.
No, we'll give a responsible young person a job, and that sounds like a win-win situation for everyone.
You could probably call school also and see if they have anybody interested in a summer job or a part-time job,
That's an idea.
you know. 'Cause I know they got a lot of advertisements up on their screen there and stuff, so.
Okay. All right, Mr. Mayor, that's all I have. Thank you.
Okay, I have a couple things. First of all, I would like to send out my condolences to the former mayor, George Rivers, on the passing of his wife Peg. Both George and Peg did a lot of service to this village, and she will be missed. And once again, my condolences to the River family from the full board. And the other thing I have is trustee Southwick brought up to my attention that some people were concerned with my statement from the previous meeting in regards to lawn care. I don't intend to have Mr. Cooper out with a 1-foot ruler measuring 6 inches of grass. I just was emphasizing the fact that there is certain codes in the village that we have to adhere to, and it's just neighborly to keep your property as neat and nice as your neighbor. And I understand, and this board understands, there's gonna be times, rainy season, or whatever the case may be, that you won't be able to get it right away. We're looking at property that doesn't have any type of care at all to it, and it's been consistent, so there's nobody gonna be threatened by Mr. Cooper and his 1-foot ruler. That's not gonna happen. The other thing I would like to bring up is we had an incident within our village in regards to a school bus hitting a portable basketball net. And I'll read into the record that 100-5 of the village code, obstruction or interference with use prohibited. No person shall unnecessarily obstruct or interfere with legal use of the sidewalks or streets, village, by other persons, and the use thereof shall be subject to the supervision and director of the chief of police. In this case, I guess we'd have to turn it over, because our police force is dissolved, to the state police or the sheriff's department. We're not looking to stop from the kids from having fun with the street hockey or their basketball playing, but what's happened is some of these nets have come back into our streets and our roads, and some of our youths haven't been as diligent as they should be. One of the buses hit one of these nets and broke the mirror. In order to prevent this from happening again, I'm gonna have Mr. Cooper go around the village and look for these situations. I'm asking Mr. Cooper to give someone verbal warning the first time. If they do not fix the problem, then Mr. Cooper should issue a citation so this does not happen again. Once again, anyone on the board differs with my opinion, now's the time to say it. This is just for the protection of the kids as well as the vehicles on the road, in this case being a school bus. Mr. Cooper, any questions on what we want you to do?
No, sir, I'll discuss this with Christopher tomorrow, and we'll set up a little program to do that. It's the first I heard about the darn wreck, though.
Okay. Anyone else on the board have a comment on what I just said? No? Okay. Trustee Arnold, is there anything you'd like to bring up?
No, not tonight, thank you.
Trustee Menard, anything?
Yeah, just one thing. I'd like to thank the village crew for the spring cleanup. They did a great job cleaning everybody's leaves and tree trimmings up. They did a great job. Village looks great. Thank you, everybody. And that's all I have to say.
Okay. Trustee Pelkey?
Yes, I have a few things. For information only, the 4th of July celebration this year is from June 30th to July 2nd. Our parade is on July 2nd with our fireworks. So there's a lot of people that come to our village, and we always had it the week before the 4th of July. I just want the people to know that it's going to happen the week of the 4th of July. So they went back to the old date. So our celebration is going to be from the 30th through July 2nd. That's with the live entertainment at the stage, there's bouncy rides, giant parade, fireworks. So there's a lot of things going on that weekend.
And Mr. Latchmore will post it on our sign out there, which will make everyone that much more aware of it.
Aware of it, yeah, definitely. Maybe we can put it on our website, or it's already there, Arsen? It's already on there? Okay, perfect.
So the information will be out there.
Okay. The second thing I have is the village-wide yard sale is usually the week before the celebration. So I'm looking to put it forth to the board that we have the village-wide yard sale on June 24th, that weekend. It brings people into our village 2 weeks in a row, and if we have it all in one weekend, it's too busy. There's too much traffic. So
That seems to work out.
So I don't know if you need that in the form of a motion, no, just for information only, so we can also post that. Thank you. Another thing I have is, I wanna bring up about the Verizon contract that was sent to us. They rent, our property up by our water tower for the use of that tower. And, currently they pay $1,857.09 a month, and they wanna only pay $1,250 a month. They want it reduced as of 7/1/23. Today's day and age, I don't ever see anything reduced. This is a budgeted item that I think the treasurer already has put in the budget as the 1857, and I think we should keep it at that.
No, I agree with you 100%.
I don't know
I
how-
think the current contract expires only in July of '24, correct? And they're contractually obligated to follow that contract until July of '24.
Right.
And I think that's where we're gonna proceed.
So what they're looking for now is commencing on 1/7/2023.
They're trying to get out of the contract that they signed a year
Right.
ahead of time.
Right, and I don't think that should happen.
No, I agree with you. Anybody feel differently about that?
I think they should.
They should
No?
stay with what they were paying, at least especially for this budget year that we already budgeted for that money to be
Exactly.
used in our water fund.
I think you could send them a letter, Mr. Latchmore, indicating that the board has discussed this and we're going to have them adhere to the contractual obligation they have until July of 2024.
Then we can renegotiate it. The last thing I have is I need an executive session to discuss personnel issues.
Second that.
All those in favor of an executive session, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say no. We have an executive session called by trustee Pelkey. Anything else, trustee Pelkey? Trustee Southwick, anything you want to say?
I just have, want to make village residents aware that 2 notices went out to water customers, one being the annual water report of 2022, the table of detected contaminants, no violations across the board, so that's excellent. Another notice went out regarding the March 2023 water sample. I just want residents who may be concerned to know that there's no issue with the water itself. There's just an issue with with this particular sample. If you have any questions or concerns about either of those, get a hold of the village office.
Thank you. Mr. Cooper, do you have anything you want to say?
No, sir, as you know, we're coming along, and I'll get with Chris tomorrow, and we'll see what we're gonna do about the traffic deal, what's gonna happen.
Okay. Anyone from the public like to address the board before we go to executive session? No? If not, then I need a motion to go into executive session.
Make a motion, we go into executive session.
Second.
All those in favor of going to executive session, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say no. The board will now recess for executive session.